First, let me bring your attention to what we see in the storage market as a whole, based on research gathered from customers and partners such as yourself. IDC tells us that data retention rates continue to increase, and the result is massive growth in storage. So much growth that by the year 2020, it's projected that our digital universe will hold 40 zettabytes. Amazingly enough, that 40 zettabyte number represents 22 zeros. That's a big number and can create big problems if we don't proactively address it now. We believe the market is missing the right solutions to address this growing storage requirement. A solution that's easy to use, cost-effective, and from a company such as Spectra that offers the reliability and support that you need. We've been offering backup and archive solutions specifically designed to protect and preserve our customers' data for 34 years. And what we offer and what the market is now demanding have never been more aligned. I talk to a lot of customers, and most of them today typically have two categories of storage, being primary and transactional, and then backing that up on a regular basis. Most are wanting a tier in the middle to cost-effectively archive data and still have seamless, easy access to it. That's what we'll talk about in this presentation. First, let's take a look at what most environments look like today. Most customers I work with have some type of performance disk in their environment, and many I talk to have SSDs or are planning or budgeting for SSDs as the price points level out. This is a necessary tier of storage simply because of the IOPS. This is the tier of storage, be it a SAN or an NAS, that the organization runs the business on. No matter what you're doing, whether it's data mining, modeling, stock trading, analyzing seismic data, rendering video, etc., it is imperative that it be done with speed and efficiency since time is money. However, over the years, customers have come to realize that 100% of their data doesn't require the IOPS of high-performance disk, nor the price that is associated with it. So over the last 10 years or so, more and more customers have attempted to save a few bucks and move some of their data to a second tier of storage. This saves a small amount of money, but the vendor that offers the high IOPS systems is usually the same one that would offer the general-purpose disk systems. So customers would get trapped into what I call vendor jail, where all their data was on one vendor's platform, and support would get more and more expensive as they would just keep adding disk and their arrays would fill up. This is where Spectra has been able to help many of our customers. As we continue down the storage pyramid, we see that the unstructured data piece is the largest portion. IDC is telling us that the unstructured data growth will represent most of that 40 zettabytes expected by the year 2020. Fortunately for Spectra and for you, this is where we have focused our time and attention, as well as research and development, since inception 34 years ago. Our primary focus is now, and has always been, protection and preservation of data in deep storage, leveraging the attributes of both disk and tape technologies. Many of my customers have told me that as much as 80% of their data can be moved off of the upper tiers of storage down to a Tier 3 disk or Tier 4 digital tape system. By helping them accomplish this, we've been able to save our customers tens of thousands of dollars or more year after year, depending on the size of their environment. Historically, customers have tried multiple methods to solve the ongoing problem of storage growth and retention, and they are receiving a lot of conflicting messages from vendors. The IOPS disk vendors will advise the customer that everything needs to remain on their disk forever. These complex and feature-rich systems are ideal for the 20% of your data that is transactional in nature and vital to the operation of your business. But to keep non-transactional or unstructured data on these systems is quite an expensive proposition. However, that is what vendors offer, and they will do what they need to in order to convince you that all your data needs to be on them. Deduplication is great and very efficient for backups, but using it as an alternative for archiving is like putting a square peg in a round hole. It, again, is expensive and is specialized and optimized for backup only. To access data from a deduplication box is cumbersome and time-consuming by having to reconstitute and keep track of the data in a proprietary manner. Others have turned to building their own white boxes, and so many have told me it turned out disastrous. The problem with this is that you typically end up with consumer-grade components, and because you put them together, you become the support person, which leaves the organization vulnerable if something were to happen to you. If it were me, I wouldn't even consider protecting and preserving my company's most valuable asset, their data, on systems that I built and I have to support. Another alternative as of lately has been startups. Statistically, most startups fail. If I were in your shoes, no matter how flashy or cheap the new product is from a startup, I wouldn't roll those dice when it comes to protecting and preserving my data. That's where the Verde comes in. We have developed a system for archiving any type of content and that can basically be installed and managed by anyone regardless of their experience level. It offers a very cost-effective price without compromising the peace of mind that you have with rock-solid hardware and software, ensuring that you never lose your data. We protect and preserve our customers' data today and forever. That's all we do. You shouldn't have to be an expert to configure or manage a box in the archive. Archive systems are sometimes configured and walked away from for months, even years. Our dashboard-style interface is easy to use and can be accessed from a static system or through any smart device interface. Most storage environments are growing, not shrinking. As we mentioned in an earlier slide, most of that growth is in the unstructured data, which is ideal for archiving. As your data grows, you can easily expand your pools through the interface or simply allow thin provisioning to do it for you. Another one of the cool factors to the Verde is the status beacon on our front bezel. So at a glance, you can see if anything is going on with the box based on the color of that beacon. With our meticulous testing and integration of FreeBSD and ZFS software functionality into our rock-solid hardware, we're confident that once you place your data on the Verde, you will never lose it. As a matter of fact, as of the time I'm recording this, we have never had a drive fail in any of our production sites. There are literally thousands of drives and hundreds of systems all over the world with no drive failures. More reliability through less complexity. That's what our customers have asked for. We've eliminated unnecessary failure points, and we've also created less code so there's less confusion. Key features required in an archive should be intelligent rebuilds, compression, and performance optimized for throughput. We have all of these in our Intier Verde. Now let's take a look at some of the use cases we built the system for and what customers are actually doing with it. The Verde was specifically designed for archiving any type of data. It can be a temporary or permanent resting spot for unstructured, low frequency, yet still valuable data that really doesn't need to be consuming the more expensive storage resources. It can also serve as a tape cache to help speed up backups to tape, or it can simply be the primary backup target for those customers who prefer to use disk instead of tape. It's used today in pretty much any industry you can think of. All environments across industries have similar issues as we discussed earlier. They need to store more with a stagnant or shrinking budget. Some of our top use cases are represented here in the archive, media and entertainment, video surveillance, high-performance computing, and general IT backups. Interestingly enough, video surveillance and media and entertainment are our two fastest growing verticals. We offer two basic building block configurations for the Verde. We have a 2U and a 4U. They are very similar. The 2U starts with a minimum of 6 4-terabyte drives and can scale to 220 terabytes of raw capacity, with standard 1 gig data ports and optional 10 gig ports. The 4U starts with a minimum of 10 4-terabyte drives and can scale to 1.7 petabytes of raw capacity. It comes standard with both 1 and 10 gig data ports. They both have multiple parity options, compression, thin provisioning, and snapshots, as well as support for NFS and CIFS protocols in a NAS configuration. For those high availability environments that require redundancy in their archive, we offer both cold and hot pair options. Cold pair means you simply have a spare unit ready to power on and accept all the drives from a potential failed unit. ZFS manages the file system on the drive, so you just take all the drives from one unit, transfer them to another, and power it up. Hot pair has both an active master and a passive master node, which share expansion nodes where all the drives are. In the event of a failure in this configuration, the passive node gets promoted to the active node and handles all read-write requests from that point forward. Data is critical, and in most cases takes many man-hours to recreate if it were lost. We do support and recommend ZFS-based replication through our snapshot capabilities. Best practices is always to have at least 2 copies of data in an archive or backup strategy. We make this easy with the Verde. As I mentioned earlier, we have customers using the Verde across all verticals for any or all use cases we reviewed. Here are just a few of the customer logos that you might recognize. If you remember just 3 things from this presentation about the Intier Verde, I would hope it would be that we are simple, cost-effective, and rock solid. Spectra's business for 34 years has been solely focused on the protection and preservation of our customers' data. It's all we do, and that's why customers all across the world look to us as the innovators and leaders that they can rely on to protect their most valuable asset, their information. Thanks again for taking time to watch this video. If you would like to learn more about our N-Tier Verde, please talk to one of our team members by sending an email to sales@spectralogic.com.